Nothing. They the most delusional. You see, oh no, not in my country. Not in my country. Diba? Diba? Dima. And that's it. We see you with your queso makeup. I did not come home to the Gambia to hurt, insult, or demean the Gambia or Gambians. Everybody will feel like they're around 9 to 15 years old, and that's at the most. Even it's a low emotional intelligence. At this point, you better just come rock with your brothers and sisters and leave your old master and get a new one. I get tired of fighting sometimes. I really do. They hate that we're here. They hate that we're African too. It's going to take more than eating fufu and having a name with 19 million letters in it to consider yourself African when you're talking to me. So what people were trying to do was misconstrue my words. She looks down on Gambians. And if you watch my videos, you know, you can see and hear they live lowly, they think lowly, and they act lowly. Y'all not used to having confidence as Africans no more. I just had to share with y'all the real reasons I like being here. You feel like you're this privileged child coming back. You can take over. Ain't nobody gonna bother you. Ain't nobody gonna get in your way. A lot of them are jealous of us. Sorry. Diasporans. Ain't nobody like us, baby. Like our people, we are so great and mighty. It just gets on my nerves, though. When you just want to be friends. And you go out and hang out with people. And they have a way of trying to tear you down. Before you come out here, to give you real talk about Africa, how you need to think about it, why there are opportunities here, and why the Asians and Europeans have loved it so much is because they've had the perfect slave, they've had colonialism, they've had people that have had no real religion to empower them so they can get over on them. I've heard people giving advice, but in the way they give advice, they make it seem like if you don't do it their way, it's not the right way. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've heard people do it. It sounds so stupid. We come to save you. We building up your community. This is about consciousness. This is about knowledge. Their bakery, they have one, but they cake and stuff, nope, dry, ugly, gross. Nope, they cannot give me no more cake. Wigs and makeup being so bad here. You just wonder about the sanity of people. We talk about owning corporations, this, that, and they're just like, I just want to get some rice. As much as I roast and say they sleep with the goats and stuff like that, those who are using my opinion to create division between the diaspora and continental Africans, I say to you, you are continuing to advance the agenda of the colonizers. Oh, she is disrespectful. Dima! You are continuing to push apart the divide between the diaspora and the continent because the colonizers know that when we join forces, look beyond our miseducation, reflect upon our experiences, unite our resources, we become unstoppable. To critique what I'm doing or the way I'm doing it, unless I ask you for help, I ask. It's not your job to come give me, any kind of indirect hatred. Because that's what I'm going to call it, because it's not love. She's bad. Put ass up. Built like a sack of potatoes. Yes, you are. And that's why no man wants you. I know what it feels like. I grew up in a black family like y'all did. We come for each other a lot. We do, because we had to learn how to love one another. But African women, I'm telling you right now, nobody's coming to y'all for your hospitality. Y'all got bad attitude problems, just like the black women back home. And I check them, and I'm going to check y'all too. Y'all got some nasty attitude problems. Don't worry about us coming out here and that's going to mess up inflation and Y'all so stupid, don't know anything about business to even say anything like that. I'm not doing this. You cannot have educated conversations with dummies. But I know Gambians, it's like 1909, girl. They just looking for some bread.
Oh, wow.
Little bread to eat. Really?
Well, I think I've heard enough. Wow, my sister, you extra. There's a part of me that can appreciate your honesty, but there's another part of me that's like, you might not want to rub Africans like that in the wrong way. because you'll have a hard time living on the continent. Granted, I'm an American, born and raised, but I have roots in Haiti and Congo. So I'm sort of like an outsider slash insider looking in. And yeah, our people definitely have some issues that need to be worked out. Um, we still have our tribal misgivings, hating on each other because of different tribes. And that's apparent when I listen to this video. We still are dealing with those issues, and it's pretty sad. I think what Africans need to start learning how to do, we all need to start getting along amongst ourselves before we start tap dancing for everybody else, if that makes sense, right? We need to treat each other right, and get to know each other so that we can break down those barriers and actually work together to build the continent. I mean, for me, if I'm going to Africa, I'm not just going to make money off of the people. No, because at the end of the day, I'm coming to get to know who I am, right? I'm coming to Africa to get to know my roots, but at the same time, to help those within the communities um, who need it. If you don't need my help, that's fine. More power to you. But we need to start with the next generation. I think it's very important. I mean, if you're over 40 or 50, you're probably set in your ways and you have your ideas about who you think Africans are, and Africans who are 40 and 50 might have their ideas about who African Americans are, who they think they might be. I think it's just ignorant to think that every black person around the world globally is the same. We're all individuals with different ideas, feelings, different intelligence levels, um, different destinies, right? Different ways of seeing things. But the reality is, there's only one motherland. That motherland is the continent of Africa. And for me, that's where I want to go to get to know my people. I want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. So while I'm not judging my sister, because I kind of get where she's coming from, and I've had experiences that way amongst some Africans, but not all. I've been fortunate. Most of the Africans that I've met happen to be some of the coolest people that you've ever met. And it has nothing to do with me being half Congolese. It has nothing to do with that. I think if anything, it has more to do with the fact that I'm open to the different parts of African culture, right? I'm just a down to earth kind of person, and I want to get to know my roots and where I come from. And that's always been my goal. Growing up, at least, in my college years, most of my friends were Nigerian, and they claimed me as their own. And I said, well, okay. And I was okay with that. So for the most part, I've had a lot of positive experiences. But again, that was from being born and raised in America and having those positive experiences with African people. Have I had negative experiences? Yeah, of course. Who hasn't had negative experiences with anybody? I've had positive and negative experiences with white folks. They're white people that I love, and they're white people, well, they don't deserve a response from me. Keep it moving. Does that make all white people racist? No. No. And the same thing goes for Africans. Does that make all African people racist? No. Because they didn't say hello to you, or they gave you certain look that you didn't like, or their tone wasn't the way it should have been. No. Maybe they're having a bad day. I just feel like we need to start really giving people the benefit of the doubt and not thinking that everybody's out to get us. Because as Black Americans in this country, we tend to do that, right? I may not be, African American ancestrally, but my roots still go back to Africa. Even if it goes back to Africa by way of Haiti and Congo, I'm still African, right? And when I realized that, a light bulb went off. And I realized it doesn't make sense for me to hate on people that I want to get to know and that I want to do business with eventually, or that I would like to help, right? So, I'm not going to Africa to be a savior to anybody. I already have a savior, and that's Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. That's the job of Yeshua HaMashiach, right? Nobody can save me except Jesus. And you'll say, oh, well, I'm brainwashed, whatever. Say what you want. But if my only goal is to go to Africa and be a savior, that's a problem, right? Maybe the situation is I go to Africa and Africa saves me, right? So sometimes we need to flip the script on what we think may happen when we go to a new place. We need to be open. We need to calm ourselves down and really get to know different parts of Africa, because it's a huge continent for what it really is, and to really embrace it with everything that we have, and to not be so quick to be judgmental, right, in our criticisms of the motherland. I think we'll be better off as a people, especially within the diaspora. I've lived abroad. I've lived in the Caribbean. I've lived in Haiti before. And people say, well, Haiti is like a little Africa. Nothing, for me, in my heart, nothing can compare to being on the actual continent of Africa. It's not the same thing. Maybe close, but it's not the same thing. But even living in Haiti, I learned so much history about the Haitian Revolution, right? And for me, I'm proud of that history. To know that we were, at some point in history, in control of our own destinies. And that's where we need to get back to, right? We told the French, your time is up on this island. You've been voted off and it's time for you to go. That's what we told the French. And the Haitian people paid a huge price for taking their independence. And I think with that mindset, taking back our independence, being in control of our own destinies, making it our own way, doing and creating our own businesses, being our own business owners, right? Take, for example, the Nigerian people. I think they do a great job of showing the world over, right, how industrious they can be, right? How intelligent they are, right? How creative, competitive they are, okay? And I'm sure there are all kinds of, African countries who are like Nigeria. But for me, Nigeria sticks out as being a very industrious country. So we have a lot to learn from each other if we want to sit down and take a notebook. We have a lot to learn from the Caribbean. We also have a lot to learn from African Americans, right? Who fought and bled their blood so that other Africans from the diaspora could come and have a good life in America as well, right? We can go on and on. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, right? Our slain brothers who put their lives up as a sacrifice so that our people could know who they are and have some confidence in themselves, right? To know that they are somebody. We all can sit at the table together. We can eat fufu together, right? We can eat ham hocks. We can eat legumes, diwi blanc. Okay? We can eat egusi soup. We can sit down and have a meaningful conversation that will lead to action. But it starts from up here. It starts from up here. We need to free our minds, free our hair. This is my natural hair. Free our nails, right? Free our faces. And come as natural human beings with feelings, right? With destinies, with intelligences, with ideas, with creativity. Because together, we're stronger. But separated, we fall. I think the message is clear. So let's not beat up our sister too much now. Okay, let's give her a chance. I know she comes off a little rough around the edges, but she's still my sister, right? From one American to another, she's still my sister, but she has to be your sister too. We have to take it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. No matter how hurtful the truth is, if it hurts us, we may have to examine why the truth hurts us. Is it offensive at times? Of course. But maybe we can sit down with her and have a conversation and see where it leads us. Over and out. Until next time. Your friend Z.